Welcome to the Backpacking Bushers podcast. With me today is a guest host, John Kelly. He's a man who hates throwing herbs away because it's such a waste of time. How's it going, man?
Wow. I don't even know what to do with that intro, man, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because I definitely don't like to throw away spices. That's for sure.
Especially time.
I don't want to throw away time.
Yeah, correct. All right. Hey, thanks for pinch hitting for Derek today. We had like a last minute cancellation. He had an emergency with his special needs kids. And I reached out to one person and it was you, and just appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. I love being on here. This is so much fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our pleasure. Anytime you're on it, yeah, it's a blessing for us too. So, but you know what? The timeliness of this is great because we are in the midst of planning a trip together here in a couple months to Red River Gorge. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You're coming like hours and hours and hours, and I'm driving an hour and a half to meet you there.
I know. Heading east. And for me, this trip is, so I went to Banff last summer, and there's all sorts of costs with that, but that's cheaper than this trip somehow. Cheaper.
Wait, what? It was cheaper to go to Canada?
Yeah. So this trip so first of all, ticket costs are crazy. I don't know why. I looked at like every possible airport near Red River Gorge, but ticket costs are crazy. Car rental, hotel the night before, just everything involved. It's more expensive is kind of what it boils down to.
So you're saying I need to go to Banff?
I hope that your tickets are cheaper from where you're flying out of. I don't know, but this is definitely an expensive trip, and it's gonna be like partially thanks to you. It's gonna be a circus.
Well, now that there are about 75 or 80 people going on this trip, it should be just finding campsites for everybody's gonna be fun.
Right. So John, like, I don't know if it was unwittingly or intentionally like sabotaged the trip by advertising it or advertising that he was going on his podcast, on the Backpacking podcast. And so right when that comes out, I started getting these hits, and we'll talk about this later, but I started getting hits on Patreon. Like, I want to go. And so yeah, at this point, folks, it's closed. We have no more spots available. So it's too late.
It's all my fault.
It's your fault. Yeah. So I don't know. Is that intentional? Or were you like, I'm going to try to add to the circus here?
It was completely unintentional. I would love to say it was intentional because that would be way more ornery on my part, but right. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not that brilliant. I can't think like that. So
okay.
As much as I'd like to take the credit, the truth is we were just talking about fun trips that are coming up, and that's when they came up.
All right. Well, so I still kind of want to blame you so that way I have a reason to get back at you with some sort of podcasting sabotage, but
well, you know what's really funny about it is usually when Jeremiah and I talk about doing trips with other YouTubers or podcasters or whatever, we don't tell anything. We just say, I'm going on a trip with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say what it is right now, but we're going on this really cool trip.
Right.
For some reason, I was just so excited that I was going with my podcasting hero that I had to like get the word out. I'm getting to go with Carl.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. You're putting a positive twist on it. So thank you for that. I don't have to, I can tell people we're going all the time because nobody ever runs into us. I think your level of popularity is so much higher than ours that I think you got to be a little more careful than us.
I know better than that.
We have not had anybody like run into us out on the trail ever. So
it's coming. It's coming. It's going to happen at the Red River Gorge. It's going to happen.
We had somebody prank, we had somebody, it was on our first Patreon trip. One guy was like hiking ahead of me, and he was passing somebody who was going the opposite way. He's like, hey, go tell the guy behind me that you listen to his podcast. He'll be excited about it. And this guy rolls up. He's like, oh, Backpacking at Blisters, I love your podcast. I was like, really? He's like, no, that guy told me to tell you that. So he totally got me on that one. That's the closest. That's the closest ever happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who was the one that told him to do that?
Just one of the guys that like was part of our Patreon crew. Just a guy. Like,
okay.
The people that come on our Patreon trips, man, like they're so much fun. They are the best people. So I think you're gonna have a great time.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, but that's not what this episode's about. We got pieces of gear that you and I both previously hated, weren't willing to use, whatever, and then we've since changed our mind. You got a list for that?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for that, man.
Okay. All right.
I'm totally ready for that.
All right. Well, I got a Bible verse too. So let's do that first. We got Romans 12:19. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good.
Ooh, good one.
Hate being the the connector word there. So what's the biggest evil you witness in life, like on a maybe semi-regular basis that you just hate?
Lying.
Really?
Oh, I
With your
hate it, man.
with your
It
kids,
hurts more people.
with like friends and stuff?
Yeah, well, just friends. When my kids do it,
Mhm.
like my kids know they'll get punished for a lot of things, but the worst punishment always comes if they lie.
Right.
So honesty is everything, and if people aren't honest, I don't do well with that.
Right. You don't have friends that are lying to you, do you?
No, no, but I mean, I just see it all the time. People lying to each other, lying to themselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you count like exaggeration as part of that?
no, I call that fun.
Okay. There's like fun exaggeration for sure. Like, oh,
Oh yeah,
this happened to me a million times. Like, obviously, like obvious things
85
like
people
that.
going on our trip.
But some people, yeah, correct. But some people will use exaggeration to make a point, but because they've exaggerated, their point has more weight
Yeah,
behind it, right?
yeah,
Does that bother you?
yeah. I don't like that very much.
Okay, gotcha.
Not if it's meant to be. If it's meant to be humorous, then I'm down.
Mm,
But yeah, like people trying to overstate something
right.
that's not the best.
Okay. All right. Lying. Okay, so don't lie to John.
Speaking of it, did you see what my name is on here?
Derek is my spirit animal. Yeah. Giving Derek a shout out.
Yeah.
How does that relate to lying?
Oh, you figure that one out.
Because I've accused Derek of being a liar a lot.
Well, I don't know about lying, but maybe exaggerating things from time to time.
I've straight up accused Derek of lying on the podcast multiple times. So he's not offended by it, so it's okay. But
I was going with the exaggerating part, but
gotcha. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. All right. So you want to start with this? Pieces of gear that we hated and we've changed our mind. What do you got?
Okay, so my first one is I'm gonna say this one's a sorta. Like I don't completely hate it now.
All right.
And that's tents.
Okay.
Okay. Back in 2019, I got my first hammock, my first real hammock. I used nothing else but that hammock.
Okay.
Basically, outside of a trip here and there on occasion,
Right.
until last summer.
Okay.
So for 4 years, that's pretty much all I used was that hammock, if it
Yeah.
was possible. If it wasn't possible and I'm somewhere I couldn't use a hammock, I wouldn't.
Right.
But last year I used the Durston X Mid Pro 2.
Okay. Yeah.
I like that tent a lot.
You
I
like
didn't
it.
think I would like a tent, but I actually liked that tent a
Okay.
lot.
So you
And so
used to hate tents, like in favor of hammocks, and now you're okay with them.
Yeah. Well, I had a really crappy tent, so that might have been part of it too. I had one of those tents that has the front entry on the dome thing.
I could tell you, I could tell you exactly what tent you had because I've heard you talk about it. It was the Big Agnes Seed House, right?
Fly Creek.
Fly Creek. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard your commentary about that tent actually made me sell my tent.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Because I had the Seed House and it has the same, you called it like a, what was it? Like a
door.
Doghouse entrance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I hate that too. And I was like, that is really annoying. And they make a lot of tents that have the side entrances. Why would I do that?
Yeah,
and so
that was my whole thing. And now that
I know.
And I won't own a tent if it doesn't have a side entrance at this point. Like I will never do the doghouse entry ever again.
I heard you say that exact thing in your podcast, and it struck a chord. And I was like, I'm selling that thing. And so I sold the tent, and now I've only gotten, now I've got the side entrance ones, and it's night and day. Why do they even have those tents? They made those tents in the 90s. Sierra Designs made them. I think they were the ones that probably started that whole process. And so, but they never phased out. They still have them. It's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, people still make them. I mean,
yeah,
there are a lot of thru hikers that use the Fly Creek still.
Yeah,
and love it.
Yeah, if it works, then great. I just saying, like personally, I'm with you. It's uncomfortable to get in and out of, especially if you're like, I had a 2-person one. If you're sharing, it's kind of annoying. But
oh man, it's even worse if you're sharing.
Okay, well, I still like tents. So, and I haven't done the hammock thing yet, but we are above tree line a lot, so I don't know if that's really like a viable option a lot of the time.
Well, you'll see my hammock when we go on this next trip.
Yeah. It'll be
Because with
epic,
there
but we're
being
not going above
75 or
tree
80
line.
people, with there being 75 or 80 people, there's not gonna be a lot of room for tents. So I'm gonna be bringing my hammock.
Are we gonna go like double decker where you have like a bunk hammock style? Or you got like the upstairs and the downstairs?
Heck no. I'm not taking the chance of someone falling on me. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's the issue, is falling at that. I thought it'd be like, somebody has an accident in the night and they go to the bathroom or something. You don't want that.
I mean, if they've got their underquilt on, it'll catch most of it, so it
Fair
won't be too
enough.
bad. And I got a tarp above me.
Okay. All right. So my first one, let's see. I'll go for the reaction here. This is like years ago. I want to say like 2015. Somebody brought one of the first renditions of the Jetboil Flash on our trip, and we had a stove for the trip. And we're like we're a group that likes to share gear. And so I was like, why do we have an extra stove? And why do we have that monstrosity? That thing looks heavy. And then I was like, I wouldn't use that. Like our stove is way lighter. And then I don't know why, but I ended up getting one. And and then I kind of became a fan of the Jetboil. Granted, for specific circumstances, when you're sharing it with a large group, it boils fast. And if you average out the weight of the monstrosity that I called it, with the fuel efficiency, it's the best option if you have one stove for a large group, let's say like 6 or more people. I get that if you're going, self-contained, whatever, it's not the best option. It's not a good idea. And I get that it's very expensive. So I don't know that I would necessarily rebuy it, but the concept of like a high efficiency, slightly heavier stove, I'm in on that. I know that there's like some knockoff versions now you can save a lot of money, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Why am I
honestly,
wrong?
they've had a resurgence in the last probably year and a half, 2 years.
Really?
I mean, you're seeing guys like Dan Becker taking them out with him on trail, and you're seeing a lot of like people who were quote unquote ultralight who
Right.
are now like moving away from that because
Right.
they're realizing a lot of really cool gear is not ultralight, and a lot of them are taking those with them. So I mean, I can get behind that. I support
Really?
you. I support you on
I
that
thought
one.
you were like anti-Jetboil.
Well, we're gonna get into something close to that with one of my things in a second, so I don't want to come off as
Okay.
a hypocrite.
Well, okay. Along those lines, though, like there's companies like Fire Maple that are making, the same kind of stoves for half the price.
Right.
But I don't know, like Fire Maple looks, because they're coming with so many different types of items at this point, they look and their website's very nice. It looks like a genuinely good company. I just don't know if it's just simply just a knockoff version of the Jetboil. Do you have any information
I
about
mean,
that?
they're all gonna be knockoffs of the Jetboil. The Jetboil was the original. I mean,
Right.
think of how many tents look like Z-Packs duplex tents.
No, for sure. But I guess what I mean by knockoff is it's like it's a cheap version that's gonna break on you, basically.
I don't know. I mean, everybody I've talked to who does Fire Maple stuff likes it.
Okay.
So now if Fire Maple wants to send me one, if you guys are listening right now, Fire Maple, and you
Yeah.
want to send me one of those stoves, I'll be more than willing to test one for you. So
They were at the Outdoor Retailer show last summer, and they barely wanted to even have a conversation with me. So I doubt they're going to want to send you one. They were like, we might be willing to talk to you. And they were very resistant. And anyway, it's kind of socially awkward, to be honest. But
that's a shame. They don't know what they're missing out on.
that's right. We could have been buddies.
We could have been best friends.
All right. So Jetboil, and the other thing about the Jetboil too is I'll use it a lot for car camping, where you have your regular, 2-burner stove set up, and then we'll have that off to the side just for making hot drinks. And that's where I bring like my partial canisters, is for that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I think
All
it
right.
makes all sense in the world. I actually support that one.
Okay.
I know. I think you were thinking I was going to come firing at you, but I'm really not this time.
I was trying to come out guns blazing, and it didn't work.
My next one's very similar to yours.
Okay.
And that's canister stoves.
Okay. You
As
used to
a
hate them?
whole, I was only alcohol stoves for a very long time. For a couple of years, that's all I used was alcohol stoves.
Right.
And then I got my hands on a stove. And of course, I'm not going to remember the name of it because I'm in the middle of a podcast and I need to know the name of it. But I found a stove that wasn't super loud, because the thing I hate about canister stoves
Right.
is that rocket fuel sounding thing. And then when you get like 6 or 8 of them going on around a campfire at the same time, oh, I hate that sound. And so I started going with alcohol stoves because they're quiet and they don't make any noise.
Yeah.
And then I started finding out they're illegal in half the country. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? And I found a stove, and it does
Wait a minute.
great
Wait.
job.
The alcohol stoves are illegal?
Especially in California. Most places in California, you can't use them.
Because it's considered like open fire?
Yeah, it's because it's an open canister of fuel. So if someone was to
think
kick it over, the
rangers
whole
gonna
thing would
roll
go
up
over on the ground.
like, That is illegal. Here's a ticket.
Well, I mean, it's just as illegal as not using a wag bag. They still have to catch you, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Somebody's got to be spying on you doing that. Okay. All right. Sorry. So because you're trying to follow the rules, which we struggle with personally, and then so now you're in on the canister stoves.
Well, I found one that's quieter.
Okay.
And since I was able to find one that's not stupid loud, then I'm okay with it. And so, and I'm finding that a lot of the stoves, the ones that have the bigger faces on them, instead of the little tiny burners, those tend to just not be quite as loud because they don't have to put out as much to make the same flame.
You know which stove is really quiet is the MSR reactor stove.
Really?
Are you familiar with that one?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah, I've never used it, but I know what it is.
It's a $300 stove. It's like similar idea concept to the Jetboil. It's just really quiet. I don't know why it's $300, but I'm actually gonna be. I think I'm talking to an MSR rep tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask that question. So
you should see if you get a couple of those.
Get a couple, yeah.
One for you and one for me.
It's like,
and we'll
like
make sure we video this stuff on our
pounds.
trip. We'll video the stuff on our trip.
Okay.
And then I'll make a video with both of us in it talking about our ideas of this stove.
It's called like the Denver Media Show. And so there's all these big name brands that have their marketing people out there. If you're allowing me to drop your name or your podcast so I can get more free gear, I'm happy to do so.
Do it, man.
I don't anticipate getting any personally, but we'll see.
Times are hard, man. Times are hard. Things are expensive.
For sure. So I'm just there to ask questions. I'm just there to interview, find out what's coming out that's new. But
that's awesome.
All right. Canister stoves. Okay. You're going with some pretty like staples of the backpacking industry. It's kind of interesting.
That I hated.
Yeah. I've got, let's see here. I'll go with the staple just to kind of match you. Okay. So back in the day, in my early backpacking days, we're talking like late 90s, early 2000s. I went back, like I was doing the John Muir Trail and I was with a guy who used a down sleeping bag. And because of the condensation inside his tent, his thing just got semi-soaked every night. So he had to like air it out, dry it out every single day. It just looked like a stinking hassle. And so because of that, in my mind, I'm thinking never, ever get down. Like that is just, you're asking for trouble basically. And obviously like with, the down technology has come so far since then. And but in my mind for years, I just wasn't willing to go with down because I just did not want the hassle. And finally I got a down bag. I think it was a year ago. And I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The weight savings?
Yeah, weight savings, but it's like super warm. It's an Outdoor Vitals. I don't know what model it is, but it's an Outdoor Vitals one. And so I went from synthetic to down. What is it? The dry loft? Is that what they call it? That keeps it kind of like a little more waterproof?
Like that.
Yeah, it's like a little more waterproof. Yeah, they treat it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to have that issue. And then tents are better ventilated and they're better designed now. So you're not going to get as much condensation as that guy was getting. I think he had like a single wall tent. So I guess I was scarred from that experience, but I've overcome it. So I no longer hate the down and now I'm a user.
Well, I'm glad that you're a user now, man. That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And honestly, you know what I don't like using down for? Jackets.
Okay.
I tend to prefer the synthetic jackets because they're out most of the day. And especially if it's cold outside. And if that thing gets wet, you're kind of screwed at that point. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think I love down for my sleeping stuff, especially being in a hammock. Down is necessary or your quilts are going to be so heavy. It's not worth taking.
Right.
So I'm a huge fan of down for that. But man, with jackets, I kind of go with the fake
synthetic
stuff.
The fake stuff. Gotcha.
Fake stuff. I like the fake stuff.
Interesting. My favorite trips are the trips where I don't have to bring that stinking jacket. So we haven't had one in a while. I've been on so many cold weather trips that I just have, I've had to have a jacket with me. But anyway.
Well, I was going to say living in Colorado, though, with the elevation, I mean, it could be the middle of August and you're going to have to wear a jacket up on some of those elevations, aren't you?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, if you're going high elevation for sure, I can get away with just like the rain jacket. Other than that, but we've just been to some awesome places, and then some of the awesome places have had just terrible, terrible weather. So just unseasonably cold or whatever. Just I don't know. We went to Canyonlands last year where it was like average highs in the 60s, average lows in the 40s for the month, and then ended up being like 40s and 20s, like stuff like that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So okay, so that was mine. What's your next one?
You're gonna love this one. This is the one I think that could trigger you. So that's why I was kind of
Right.
holding off to save it for the end here.
Yeah.
Nalgene bottles.
You used to hate them, and now you like them.
Yeah, but
For
only in the
backpacking
wintertime.
specifically.
But only in the wintertime.
Okay, yeah, in the wintertime, of course they're fine.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how much winter backpacking you do. I know we talked earlier, and you don't really do a whole lot of cold weather backpacking.
I want to. I just don't have anybody to go with, and I'm just
Yeah.
afraid to go myself.
Yeah. Well, if people don't know this that are listening right now, you fill that thing with hot water before you go to bed, and just set it in the foot box of your sleeping bag or your quilt.
Right.
When you get in that thing at night, that's nice and warm, and man, there's nothing like having warm feet
For sure.
when it's cold out, and
Okay.
it does a great job. And honestly, when you really weigh it out, carrying one Nalgene bottle really doesn't affect your base weight all that much.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Carrying
5.5 ounces.
Carrying one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you don't count over a quarter pound as much, I guess you're right.
That's under a third of a pound. So it's under a third. It's not even a half a pound.
Winter, I would bring multiple Nalgene bottles because they also, because of the resin they use, they freeze less quickly. And so,
Right.
of course, yeah, in that circumstance, but people are just proud of their stickers. They want to sport them in the summertime. They want to dangle them off the back of their pack with a carabiner. They got to get the backpacking, the look, so to speak, right? So that's what I'm against right there. I'm against the useless weight. So
This is why I had to make sure I brought up the Nalgene.
thank you for that.
Because I know that you love your bling. You love backpacking bling.
Here's what I want to do. I'm going to go on a trip where all the things that I hate, I'm just going to take everything and see if it really changes. I'm bringing the footprint. I'm bringing the buff. I'm bringing the Nalgene, the carabiners. Is that going to improve my experience? I'll try that.
The aqua clip. Are you going to bring the aqua clip?
Do they even make that anymore?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I never used one.
Yeah, I've already tried that. All right, my next one. This one is I don't know how new this is. Definitely a few years old. Is the Sun hoodie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I saw somebody bring one, and I was like, "You're wearing it's like hot out right now. You're putting a hoodie on." I just didn't get it. I was like, I don't want long sleeves. I want to be cool when it's hot out. I don't want to wear a long sleeve hoodie shirt when it's hot out. And so the thought of even buying one, especially because a lot of them are expensive, just never crossed my mind. We had a listener. He likes to periodically send me like all of his reject gear, just stuff that he's not using anymore.
Yeah.
And he sent me a Sun hoodie that happened to fit me. And so I tried it a couple times, and now that's coming like all the time. I just love this thing. And now I get it. It's physically lightweight. It's very breathable. It doesn't make me hotter. And then I wore it on a high mountain pass last August in Yosemite, where the sun was beating down on me, and I got that like the reflective off the snow and the ice and stuff. And I just felt like I was protected from those rays, and I didn't get sunburned at all. And so I'm all in on the Sun hoodie.
I'm with you 1000% on that one.
Okay.
Devin Ashby was actually the first person that I saw using one.
Right.
And he had a video where he was putting one on. It was some outdoor research hoodie. And I was like, what? And so I went and bought one.
Right.
And man, I've got one from them. I've got 2 from Outdoor Vitals. I've got one from Patagonia.
Yeah.
And I think I might have one from Appalachian Gear or something like that.
Okay, but, you are all in.
Dude, I love these things.
To get one from every brand.
Well, you gotta accessorize.
Yeah.
And so, but I like trying them all out just to see which one I like the best. And I'll be honest, the Outdoor Vitals one might be my favorite. The only thing that's hurting it is no thumb holes.
Oh yeah, the thumb holes are great.
Yeah. If Outdoor Vitals is listening, which they might because they like you, but if they're listening right now, where are the thumb holes, man?
Right.
Put those thumb holes in there, because like I don't know about you, but if I'm hiking like on a ridge where there's no tree cover, my hands get sunburned.
Yeah, I just like the feel of it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so mine's an outdoor research one. It's like a blue one. I will say one downside to it, it's the material is it like drapes over your body differently than a regular t-shirt. So if I'm the least bit like overweight or pudgy in the stomach area, it's showing. Like it's the reveal right there. So
well, you're in luck. When you're hiking with me, you will look skinny.
Okay. Well,
guaranteed.
We'll see. You've lost a lot of weight, man. So I don't know about that.
It doesn't mean I'm not still fat. I'm just not as fat.
You're just more muscular now.
We'll say that. We'll go with that.
Okay. All right. Do you have any more? You got any other ones?
You know, I have one more.
Okay.
One more. Hiking boots.
Okay. Wait what? No, please don't tell
Yeah.
me you're wearing hiking boots.
Not on every trip. Not on
Okay.
every trip. But I remember a few years ago, I was so committed to trail runners that I
Mhm.
bought waterproof socks and wore them with trail runners in the wintertime
Right.
and would hike through snow and everything like that, thinking that was great.
Right.
And then this last year, REI had a sale on some of their hiking boots that they had.
Okay.
And so I bought a pair and I went for a hike out in snow and it was awesome. My feet stayed warmer.
Okay.
I didn't feel the wetness on my feet. You know how even with the waterproof socks, you still feel wetness? Like,
Yeah, I haven't used it, to be honest, but
it's
yeah,
just a weird cold sensation, I guess.
yeah.
But having the boots, I didn't have that. And I was like,
Okay.
"Ooh, this is okay." And then I was on a hike where it was really super rocky.
Mm-hmm.
And man, those boots were awesome because in the trail runners that you feel more of the rocks and stuff in the bottom of your feet. And if
Right.
you do that for several miles, it can start to get annoying. And with the boots, I didn't feel any of it.
Right.
So I'm not anti-boot anymore.
Okay. And for the folks out there that are like committed to trail runners or even like road running shoes out on the trail, if you want to know what it feels like to wear the boots out on the trail, just strap some heavy ankle weights to your ankles, and it's the same thing.
I knew it was coming. That's why I saved it for last. I knew it was coming.
You're like, you come up with this, like, I don't know, thesis to prevent me from arguing against you. Of course, yeah, boots are great in those circumstances. In the winter, in the snow, I totally get it. I think that, I mean,
But even on rocky terrain though, I've got Hoka speed goats
okay.
that I wear. And I love them. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna hike on like super rocky areas,
Right.
I'm really gonna consider taking the boots.
Okay. I'm just trying to process through that because I've used those on like uncomfortably rocky areas, just basically going off trail stuff. And that particular shoe, the Hoka Speed Goats, my feet have never felt better backpacking ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard for me to like think, well, this is gonna be a little rockier. I could see if it's gonna be wetter or if it's gonna be snowier, swapping them out. But
Well, even
yeah,
the ankle support a little bit too, because
yeah,
where do you turn your feet or turn your ankles the most?
right.
The rocky kind of weird crevices and things like that. So
And I've had ankle problems over the years, but just by using the trail runners and hiking with them, like that's strengthened my ankles, so I don't have that as often. But oh, speaking of shoes, though, I got a confession, man. This is like kind of embarrassing.
you like Altras now?
It has to do with Ultras, yeah. So we talked about this. Like you mentioned, or you brought up that you agreed with me about them, the trend for Ultras like dying, right? And
Yeah.
so I was at REI a couple days ago with my wife. She's coming on this Red River Gorge trip, and she wants new shoes. And so I'm steering her away from them, the Ultras. I'm like, whatever you want. Like basically, like spend $1,000 on shoes. Don't buy those. Like basically, is what I said. I didn't really say that, but you get the idea.
And now it's
And
a
so,
vendetta. It's not just you don't like them. It's you're gonna do everything in your power to make sure nobody buys
yeah,
those shoes ever.
right. And the salesperson, by the way, the guy that's like getting the shoes for us out of the back, he's wearing them. He's wearing that brand, of course. And so we're trying all the different brands on, and she likes the wider foot box. So I'm steering her away from like, Solomon's or La Sportivas
Yeah.
that tend to have
Yeah.
the narrow foot boxes, whatever. But she's like, I just like how these look. Can I at least try them on? And then she's like, these are amazing. I love these. It's like, I was just talking about this on the podcast. You can't buy these, and then you're going on a trip with me. Everybody's gonna see. And so she kept on trying on different ones. I tried steering her towards like Topos because they have the wide foot boxes, and they of course didn't have her size. And anyway, so she ended up buying them.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
So it's a
there you
family
go.
divided.
Yeah. So when you talk about like being an influencer, I don't think that applies to this podcast, or I can't even influence my own family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, man, I'll say it again. I probably will never own another pair of Ultras again in my life.
What if your wife wants to buy them? Would you be okay with that?
I mean, dude, if I could just get her to go hiking with me, I'd pay the price
Okay.
just to get her to go on a trail
Fair
with me.
enough.
My wife doesn't like to hike, so
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Next on my list is the bear canister. Just kidding. I hate the bear canister, and I will always hate the bear canister. I never want to bring one. You don't have to break the rules. Okay. Next one I got. I got like a long list here, so I think I have more
Did
than
you
you.
see the confused look on my face when you said bear canister?
I just
You
gave your
said that,
reaction.
and the first thing I was like, he's joking, right? That can't be real.
Okay, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you.
Okay.
Coke products. I used to not want to bring Coke products on the trail. How are you about Coke products on the trail?
So are you talking Coca-Cola or are you talking like drugs? What are we talking here?
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Not
I,
Coke products.
you bring soda on trail?
What do you think? I'm asking you the question. Do you bring Coke products with you?
Not that I know of.
Okay. You
Is that
do.
fair?
You do, my friend. I bet you
I
do.
do.
Yeah. When you
What do
think
I
of
bring that's a
Coca-Cola, you
Coke?
think of like this, this company that makes just, chemical soda basically. And I just found out that they're the parent company for smart water bottles.
Really?
Yeah. So you say I don't bring Coke products
Wow.
on the trail, but really you kind of do.
Unless I don't
So
bring smart water bottles.
you don't bring those?
I mean, I bring what's the Life Water? I bring a lot of the Life Water bottles
You don't
and
like
Gatorade bottles.
Okay.
But I do smart water ones too, but I think lately I've been bringing the Life Water ones.
All right, so maybe you don't bring them. Yeah, I'll bring whatever, like whatever the lightweight thing is
Yeah.
on sale, whatever. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I'm like, I didn't realize I was supporting Coke products with that. So
Do you know what bottles I've started bringing now?
Nalgene.
Do you know the bottles that runners wear in their vests?
Yeah.
I've started bringing those.
Okay. They're called the soft flasks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've started bringing those. Last year I was on Strava and I was doing 75 hard.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing 75 hard, I had to drink a gallon of water a day and I had to do 2 workouts a day. And
What is
so I did
75
everything on
hard for people that
Strava.
don't know?
You have to take 75 days
Mm-hmm.
and you have to do, it's like, I think 6 tasks. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to work out twice a day. One of
Right.
those times has to be outside. You've got to stick to a diet.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to read 10 pages of nonfiction.
Okay.
What else is there? No alcohol. And you have to take a picture of yourself every single day, a
Okay.
progress picture. So you got
Gotcha.
to do that every day. If you miss any one of those things, you're out
Right.
and you have to start over.
Okay.
So I was doing that and I was using Strava, and Strava had this program where if you did so many miles, you got free bottles.
Oh, okay.
And it had your name on it. Made you
Those
look.
are
It called you a
expensive, man.
sponsored
The
athlete.
soft flasks, those are expensive bottles too.
Yeah, it said you're a sponsored athlete.
Wow.
So, we go hiking, you're gonna be with a sponsored athlete, just letting you know that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited.
So, yeah.
That's
But I've been
how I
taking those
advertise it.
bottles.
What'd you say?
But I've been taking those bottles because
Okay.
you don't have to unscrew a lid, you don't have to flip top anything. You just stick the thing in your mouth, pull out the nozzle, drink, squeeze
Right.
some in your mouth, put it back in your pocket, and you're done.
Yeah. Well, if you want predictions, man, the running community and some of their design stuff, I mean, it's already crossed over into the backpacking world with
Yeah.
just like chest harnesses and the pockets that are on the straps and stuff. So I think that, yeah, you're going to see more of those. So I think you're at the front end of that curve. What else I think you're going to see, and maybe they're already there, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Surprisingly, so you're out on a backpacking trip and you're in a situation, maybe you want to like be snacking on the trail. Maybe you're doing something with your hands and you want to put your trekking poles away. So a lot of those running packs will have these little like cinch straps just right on the shoulder strap where you can just kind of like fold them up, slide them up there, and then just like cinch them down so they're not, wiggling around. And you can do that without having to take your pack off. I think you're going to see more of that on packs. Is that
Osprey's
already
been doing
there?
that for years.
Who
Osprey's been doing
has?
it for years. I used Osprey.
Okay.
Because when I was doing Kilimanjaro, I had that. I could just take them. There was like a loop right down here in my hip belt. I would stick the ends of them in there and then wrap this cord around it and tighten it up and walk like that. So
okay. So I must have missed that, but I know a lot of the packs I've been looking at, they don't have those. So maybe some of the Cottage brand stuff, but that's just, I just see a lot of that happening. And honestly, I was using an Ultimate Directions pack a lot last summer that had that, and theirs wasn't great, but it was better than nothing. So I imagine they're going to get better and better at finding it's kind of a stowaway situation.
Yeah, those Ultimate Direction packs are nice though.
Do you like that brand?
I do. I don't own any of their stuff, but I've seen a lot of it, and I've gotten to borrow it.
Okay.
I think it's really cool stuff.
Okay, yeah, I would never recommend that brand personally. I
Oh,
keep
wow.
on I look at reviews, I look at the colors, the design, and they just look the coolest, and I keep on getting duped by them, but I've never been satisfied with one that I bought, so
Oh, wow.
and we had the CEO on our show, man, and he's a good dude, and he's a runner. He's like way more legit than I will ever be, and so he knows what he's doing. But even like the one that I had last summer had a pocket that was like kind of it goes under your arm, like not in your armpit, but just like down by your side,
Yeah.
and it's meant to kind of store your phone there, but it was like too small for your phone, and it wasn't zippered shut, so things could literally just fall out of it. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
not a,
Yeah.
maybe there's good.
I was gonna say Ultimate Racers use those a lot.
Yeah, so there's probably smaller ones. Like I was using a heavier duty one. There's probably smaller ones that are just more streamlined or better designed. I probably just used the wrong one, but anyway. All right. Other ones I had kind of honorable mention is like the squeeze filters. Once I dialed in the right bag with some of the squeeze filters, like the Sawyer squeeze, I like that better. And then my wife, she wanted to weigh on this. She used to think bandanas were dirty and gross like in general, because they're always being used for dirty and gross things. But now she likes it as like a multifunctional thing. She brings a bandana.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. All right. We got like 8 or 9 in there. So what do we miss? What's something that you used to hate that you now like that we should discuss in the future? So please leave a comment for that. All right,
I can tell
man.
you something. I can tell you something I used to hate that I still hate.
Okay. What's that?
Any meal by Mountain House.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, man. I've tried for years. I can't do it. Like if you're gonna take Mountain House on a trip with you, take
Right.
a salt shaker and a pepper shaker,
Right.
and other seasonings,
Right.
and pray that your nose doesn't work.
Right.
It's
Oh,
like the
man.
worst, man. I'm never gonna get a sponsorship from them because I've said horrible inflammatory things
I
about them
know.
for years now.
Yeah, and they're nice people over there. I do like I like their lasagna in my early years. I think I overate that because that was like the one meal that I liked from them. But I went on a church backpacking trip where they wanted to like buy your food for you because I think most of the guys going weren't experienced backpackers. And so part of your admission fee was the food, and they bought Mountain House, and I felt obligated to eat through some of that because I didn't want to be like the lone guy who had the better stuff. And I got like it was like shrimp fried rice or something, and it was just the
Oh,
worst.
man.
It was like the worst. Yeah. Anyway, I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah,
I've got
nasty.
hated products trivia for you coming up right after this.
Ooh.
All right, John, last time you were on, you passed trivia and I had to do 20 push-ups, and I made it, by the way. I did them.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you pass trivia again, what's the punishment here?
You have to hike a mile or walk a mile with your shoes on the wrong feet.
Okay. That like truly is a serious punishment for me because I have terrible feet and I constantly have foot problems and I'm constantly managing them. If you give me plantar fasciitis with this single punishment, I will always like I'm gonna have to get like legit revenge, like actual revenge.
Now I'm nervous about backpacking with you. I better get these questions wrong, is what you're
That's
saying.
right. That's right. I was just gonna say, since we're going on a backpacking trip, I just want you to carry something small for me the entire trip, like something, like a chapstick or maybe like
An Nalgene bottle?
a Nalgene. Okay, how about a Nalgene
With
bottle?
stickers all over it?
How about an Nalgene bottle filled with rocks? Something like that.
Oh,
No,
that's
just kidding.
brutal.
Just kidding. I'll give you my favorite Nalgene bottle that I legitimately use Nalgene bottles. I fill them with water and I use them when I'm going on training hikes. Just like stuff in my backpack, just to have extra weight. So I'll give you one of those.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay. All right. So here we go. 3 questions. 2 of them are multiple choice. One of them is just, you just got to answer, man. I feel like it's easy, but what do I know? Here we go.
Okay.
Hated products. This is not just related to backpacking. These are just products that have been hated. They came out, they didn't last long, they went away.
Okay.
All right. Number 1. What 90s soda was almost the exact same as the original flavor? It was just clear.
Oh, I know this one. So is this a multiple choice or I just have to tell you?
No, this is the non-multiple choice one.
Oh, it's Pepsi.
Okay. Do you know the name of the actual?
Was it Pepsi Clear?
I'll give it to you. It's Crystal Pepsi.
Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
Okay. Crystal Pepsi. But I remember that stuff because we used to put it in squirt guns and people would think it's water and we'd squirt it with them or squirt them with it. And like 10 minutes later, all their stuff is sticking to them and it's really gross feeling. And it destroyed our squirt guns too because it like gummed up the insides of them.
Yeah.
But it was really fun to do.
Okay. Well, I would like to change my request for a punishment for this trivia. I would like to squirt you with Crystal Pepsi. I bet I could find it somewhere in the middle of the backpacking trip, just randomly. I'll just be like, "Hey, John," and just get you.
You know, maybe I'll make that mine too. So one of us is going to have this happen to him.
That's awesome. All right. You only got to get one more right to pass, so it's not looking good for you anyway. But number 2, multiple choice. Wow chips made by Frito-Lay were low fat and tasty, but they did not last long because they, A, were too expensive, B, contained illegal chemicals, C, had false nutrition facts, or D, caused explosive diarrhea.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what those are.
Wow chips.
Wow chips? Is that a California, Colorado thing?
No, I don't know. If you looked them up and you saw the font, you'd be like, "Oh, I remember those." They were like early 2000s.
Man, that's a hard one because every one of those is possible.
I know. That's intentional.
Every single one of those. You did a good job coming up with this one.
Thank you.
I'll give you props. I'm going to go with they gave false nutritional information.
Okay. Incorrect, but that's a good guess. They actually caused explosive diarrhea.
Really?
Yeah, they had this chemical called olestra in them, which made them like really tasty, but you ate through, like a serving size or two, like a couple of handfuls of chips, and you're going to the bathroom. Like, it's going to happen. It's like an extreme laxative. Like, it's horrible. And so I remember being at like a party one time and pounding some of those, and suddenly I was not at the party anymore. So that was embarrassing.
So when I was doing keto, we were talking about doing keto earlier, you and I were. And when I was doing keto, I discovered sugar-free gummy bears.
Wait, sugar-free like stevia?
I don't know. I can't remember what it was that's in them.
Okay.
But I remember getting them and downing an entire bag of them.
Okay.
And then doing a podcast that night, a live stream, and saying that I just ate those. And a guy named Doc Watson says, "You realize that those things are a diuretic."
I actually know who Doc Watson is. It's funny.
The next day, John doesn't eat sugar-free gummy bears anymore. I don't touch those. I stay away.
Doc Watson's part of the B&B Bible study.
Yeah, Doc Watson's a good man.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, he'll hear this and he's always good about commenting and stuff. But that's hilarious. He's a super smart guy too. And it's not surprising he left that comment.
He's got a fantastic beard.
Yeah, he does. When you're in your 20s and you're at a party though, and suddenly you're not at the party, you're in the bathroom, and people are knocking on the door asking if you're okay. That's a little on the embarrassing side. Just saying.
And you're trying not to sound like an idiot.
Yeah. Thank you, Wow Chips, for that. So, okay, that there's my personal story. Okay, this next one's pretty recent-ish. This is the original Samsung folding smartphone, right?
Okay.
So they've come out with like updated versions and stuff. So these ones are fine, but the original one did not last because A, their batteries caused fires. B, over half of them broke almost immediately. C, they had glitchy screens, or D, people simply just prefer Apple.
So you threw that Apple thing at the end for me. I know that's what happened there. So I'm like, I'm a big Apple fan.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the faulty screens. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to say it. Faulty screens.
Yeah, you're wrong, man. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, dang it.
Half of them just broke, like as if they hadn't been quality tested. They just broke. So they sent them out to a bunch of, influencers to review them, and they couldn't even review them because they just broke on the people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like a disaster.
But the last one was probably more right than any of them, though.
That they didn't sell. Well, they're still selling them, so that logically that couldn't be right. But people do genuinely prefer Apple, right?
Well, I mean, it always works. So that's the best part about it. So yeah.
For the most part. So okay. All right, man. So
I lost. I'm getting an Nalgene bottle in this trip.
Yeah, I gotta. I'll make a note. This isn't one of those things where we just kind of talk about it and then it goes away. Like, I actually make notes, and I'm gonna bring one for you.
Okay,
you can use it though. You can fill it with water and
I'm going to.
Hot water at night if you want to.
I'm going to. I'm using it every single day.
Okay, you can't use it as a pee bottle though.
Oh,
just saying. Oh. Oh.
Okay. Okay, I won't do that then.
Okay. All right. Speaking of the trip, so I got some tidbits here. All right, so we got 3 new Patreon supporters. 3 new for this episode. This has never happened before.
Okay.
Why do we have 3 new ones? Because of you, John.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. All 3 want to go on the backpacking trip. That's why they joined Patreon. They heard I don't know about the third guy, but they heard your podcast, heard that you're going, and then they signed up immediately, just like that. So hey, we appreciate all the support, but I thought this was fitting to have you on it and share. So we've got 2 from Ohio, 1 from Kentucky. We've got Gary from Ohio.
I know
he's
Gary.
a hammock camper who hits up Red River Gorge as many times a year as he can, and he hits up other places like Pictured Rocks. He sounds like he's very experienced, and he will probably know the way without even having to look at a map. So that's Gary.
Yep. He's a good guy, too. I actually met Gary at the Red River Gorge once.
You met a Gary or this exact Gary?
That Gary.
How do you know?
How do I know?
Yeah.
Because he told me he signed up for Patreon to be on this backpacking trip.
Oh, he reached out to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's a good guy, too. Him and his wife both. They're really nice people.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. So, and like I said, people tend to go on our trips. They are awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So he's from Ohio. Then we got Jared from Ohio, and he actually started like getting into the backpacking content realm with you and with Jeremiah. Like he found you guys on YouTube and then eventually your podcast. And so that's kind of like his entry point, but he's done some pretty epic trips with like Rocky Mountain National Park. He's been to Desolation Wilderness, which is on our July agenda. So I was actually already asking him, some kind of intel on that area. So, but he's from that area as well. And so, okay, so that's 2 guys that are like from the area already. Do you think it's weird that I'm planning a trip to Red River Gorge? I've never been there before, but pretty much everybody else has and is like way more experienced. Isn't that kind of strange?
I mean, it's got to be like kind of comforting for you, if anything.
To be like, I'm in charge. Here's where we're going. And everybody else is like, yeah, we already know this place.
Well, the nice thing is you don't have to worry about people getting lost. You don't have to worry about, are they going to be afraid of doing this part because they've already done it before? So so in some ways, this is probably going to be very relaxing for you.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll have a great time either way. But yeah,
Can I make a request though? Can I make a request?
Yeah.
For the people that signed up for Patreon to do this trip, at least stay on Patreon for the next 6 months.
I'd be surprised if that happened. Oh. Maybe they'll find. Well, I don't know. We got a lot of stuff on there, so maybe they'll find it valuable.
Don't sign up and then do the trip and then like cut out. Like support these guys. Like poor Carl can barely afford a meal at his house. He needs this money so bad.
With the expensive nature of this trip,
I mean,
that did happen one time.
The whole life is falling apart, and he just needs the money so bad right now. So guys, stick with it on Patreon.
You're so funny, man. We did have one guy do that one time. He signed up, went on the trip. He had a great time. I went to the ends of the earth to support him and to, like everything from giving rides and this and that. I did more than I had to. And then he dropped out pretty fast after that. And so it's happened before. That's all I'll say. So
but let's not have it happen this time.
Okay. Well, that's nice of you. All right. Last guy literally just last night joined up. I recently mentioned him on a podcast. He's from Kentucky. His name is Zach. Spells his name Zach with 2 Ks at the end. And he's kind of like our personal encouragement for our podcast. Like every time we put out an episode, he has like the nicest things to say. He's just like a good dude. I'm excited to go backpacking with him. I feel like I know of these 3, I'm getting to the other 2 through emails, but he's actually just commented so much that he's just a good dude. And I'm excited for him to go. He hasn't gotten back to me as of this recording, as far as his backpacking story. So I'll kind of circle back with that later, but anyway, so that's your inspiration, my friend. Your inspiration.
Well, I mean, that's my goal in life, is to be the one who inspires.
Okay.
And so I'm glad I'm able to do that for your channel and your.
This should be like podcast. A warm fuzzy. Like this should be good for you. Okay.
This is fantastic, man.
All right. So last tidbit is for you, my friend. What's going on with the backpacking podcast, YouTube channel, any upcoming guests or episodes, anything you want to share? What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure when this episode is released, we'll have already had our next week's guest on, so it'll be the week after that. And I believe we're having David Gray on. I don't know if you know who David Gray is.
Wait, I should. That sounds very familiar.
He's an OG backpacking YouTuber. Been around for years.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But he takes some epic photography.
Okay.
And so we're going to be talking a little bit about his trips. We're going to talk a little bit about his photography. Great guy. Great guy. And we've had him on before. We're going to have him on soon. As far as my YouTube channel goes, we're just going to pray that someday I do another video.
Right.
I was hoping, I had all these high hopes to like have a video out every week starting again in January. And Carl, I failed. So I got nothing else. I failed. And I've got all these ideas. I've got this like list of video ideas, like a mile long.
But give us one. Give us an idea that you want to film. Like tease us a little bit here.
Well, I mean, I don't want to do too much because I want to make sure that like I actually do it. I would be bad. I feel bad if I like said, "Hey, I want to do this video," and then it never comes out.
But if you say it, aren't you more likely to have it happen then?
Probably not. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
I can give you some ideas. Like when we have guests on, I'm giving them ideas all the time. I don't think they ever do what I suggest, but I can give you all sorts of ideas if you want.
Well, one thing I think I told you about this one. I would like to do one that's like backpacking gear your mom wishes you would take with you.
There you go. There's the one. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to give it away, but there you go. Your mom wishes you to. Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody has a protective mom, you know, and so it's like, what gear would your mom prefer you take? And it's kind of funny, the list.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go through that or anything, but it could be fun. It could be fun.
Right.
And then also something I'm doing more of now. I actually do 3 podcasts now. So I do one podcast for the backpacking podcast, and then I'm doing 2 podcasts at my church.
Yeah, we promoted one of yours on the show.
Yeah, the one I really enjoy is our Leesburg Daily one, and that's just a daily like devotional thought.
Yeah,
just
it's
something
awesome.
to get your day started. It's called Leesburg Daily, and then I do the Leesburg Talk podcast, which is myself and the senior minister from our church, kind of talking through a passage in the Bible and just kind of diving in and seeing what happens.
Yeah,
so
man,
it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Yeah,
okay. I'll check that one out for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we promote the daily devotional one already on our show, and I've listened to it a couple times. I wanted to get it more regularly, like when I'm dropping my kids off to school, just kind of listen to it on the car ride over. So that's my hope. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, you're doing a lot of good stuff. Whether you get those videos out or not, you're doing a lot of good stuff. But when you mentioned the mom thing, just real quick, I don't know that my mom was like super concerned about me, or she didn't express that. I didn't always tell her exactly what I was doing in like the backpacking world.
Right.
But I did bring buddies where their moms were concerned about my buddies going with me. They're like, they're not scared. They were just like, are you sure? Like are you sure you want to go on the trip with Carl? You never know what's going to happen, kind of thing. So there was that.
Yeah. My mom just wants me to take people with me. Like, cause I like to do a lot of solo backpacking. So she's always getting on me for going by myself.
Okay.
So,
well, you're going to have 85 people coming with you in 2 months.
I know.
Man, this has been awesome. Just love hanging out with you, my friend. Excited to go backpacking with you, and just so appreciate you taking the time to carve out to hang out and to help us put an episode out this week. So thank you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Do it anytime. Anytime.
All right. Everybody have a great week. Derek will be back next week. God bless you.